Jesus Christ.
Okay, and now we figure out how to get my third article to show, because this was not the one that I was supposed to do next. It was supposed to... Ah, there we go. There we go. Just got to do it manually. It's supposed to be Tommy Tuberville. I know it's pronounced Tuberville, but I like Tuberville better because it makes him sound like he's a potato farmer. He's a potato-munching sociopath.
He is a potato-munching sociopath.
Tommy Tuberville.
Jesus.
He says the Navy is so woke because people are doing poems on aircraft carriers. So I'm just going to play the video. There might be an echo. I don't think there will be an echo, but there might be. So sorry if
we'll find out.
Ooh, wait, no, gotta.
There's no second place in war, okay? We have to have the best. And right now, we are so woke in the military, we're losing recruits right and left. Secretary Del Toro of the Navy, he needs to get to building ships. He needs to get to recruiting. And he needs to get wokeness out of our Navy. We've got people doing poems on aircraft carriers over the loudspeaker. It is absolutely insane of the direction that we're headed in our military, and we're headed downhill, not uphill.
Could we?
So
there's no second place.
So for context here, if you're not familiar, Tommy Tuberville is the guy who is the single senator who is at the moment holding up over 300 military promotions.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he's throwing a hissy fit about wokeness. Now, first off, the poems over the loudspeaker. Oh no, heaven forbid, as a form of recreation or like as a morale boosting thing or whatever, they decide to read a poem to the people on an aircraft carrier. Oh,
dude, there's
no.
so many pictures of World War II soldiers in drag having to go like man cannons and shit because they got attacked in the middle of like performances.
Yeah.
The military's always done this shit.
Yeah.
People need to find ways to entertain themselves.
Are you familiar with the poem In Flanders Fields?
Not by name, no.
So it's very big in Canada and the UK. It was by a Canadian armed forces member who he was I think he was a doctor who, when he signed up, he actually specifically requested not to be part of a military unit. He wanted to be part of a fighting unit, so he would be their medic / gunner or whatever, because like he's like totally gung-ho for the military. I don't agree with that level of like devotion to killing other people for your country, because I'm kind of a pacifist, if truth be told. But like he wrote a poem called In Flanders Fields, which is the reason why Canada and the UK and probably a bunch of other UK related countries like Australia, probably, I don't know if they do it, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did. But it's the reason we wear poppies around Remembrance Day, which is I think that's Veterans Day in the States, November 11th. It's the reason we wear poppies around there, because it's in Flanders Fields where the poppies grow between the crosses row on row. And it's about like he wrote this poem in remembrance of a friend of his who died in battle, and he noticed what like he noticed that the where the soldiers had been buried, poppies grew up there really quick, and so he wrote this poem about it. And it's a beautiful poem, and he wrote it while sitting in the back of an ambulance. It's like poetry has been part of what soldiers do to deal with the stress of war for as long as war has been a thing.
It's also, so I'm looking up some of the numbers. Tuberville's also wrong about the military recruitment numbers. So the amount of like active duty United States forces, we've been at a pretty steady amount since there's a spike between 2000 and 2002. Gee, wonder why. Then after that spike, there's not a huge variance year by year in active duty levels from 1996 all the way to 2023. We had a more active military between 74 and 96, but then after that severe drop in the 90s, we've basically maintained.
Okay.
So we're not even.
Well,
he's just
wrong about. He's just throwing a hissy fit. Okay. Anyway, the Savage Cobra, the cursorial angiosperm, love it, says, which branch controls appropriations again? I assume that's which branch of government controls that. That would be Congress, wouldn't it? I'm not sure. I don't know.
I'm not 100% certain.
I didn't take an American civics course, but what I do know is that this guy is personally, like, the way military promotions work is they do have to go through the Senate. However, for some reason, there's this weird thing where, like, it has to be unanimous. So, like, one senator can hold up the whole damn thing. But, like, normally what they would do is they would just bundle all the promotions into one thing and be like, does everybody agree to this? Everybody says, yep. And then it passes and all those people get promoted. So what he's doing is he's holding it. And so what Congress could do is they could now go through each individual promotion and set a vote on that. And it could just pass with a simple majority. And then that person would be promoted. They could do that. However, the amount of time it would take to do that would be like if they worked around the clock every day, it would take them something like 6 months to get through all the promotions that this guy is holding up. So it'd be a massive waste of time. Time and resources.
He's ruining everybody else's time.
So he's throwing a snit over that. But it's worse than that, because like what's happening is like these are promotions that need to happen. Like a lot of them are like high ranking positions. So it's like a general retires. This general is in charge of doing certain things in the military. So whoever is taking their place needs to be promoted to that level to do the thing. And so if they don't get promoted, what's happening is it's a field promotion. So they're acting general such and such until the promotion's official. And if they're acting general such and such, I might be wrong on this, but my understanding is the pay does not increase until it's official. So they're seeing it as like, I'm now doing a harder job, a more higher up job for no extra pay. So like there's now a problem where some of the people in these positions where they're getting more responsibility for the same amount of pay are now also resigning. And so other people are needing to be promoted into that. So like it's actually compromising how the efficiency of the military. So he is literally compromising national security because he's worried about wokeness.
Welcome to America, everybody.
Like, honestly, fucking throw him in with the people being indicted for seditious conspiracy. Like,
because it's basically what he's doing at that point.
He's doing all of America's enemies a favor by compromising the military, the entire military, because he doesn't like poems on aircraft carriers.
It's a childish thing to get angry about as well. Also, should be noted, Tales of Atonement in my chat pointed out that disdain for the arts is actually point number 11 on the 14 points of fascism.
Oh,
from Umberto Eco.
What do you know?
Just weird that just strange.
Actually, that is kind of strange because there's a weirdly large number of Twitter accounts that are like people that have like Roman busts as their profile picture, who are like all about appreciation of classical arts. But of course, by classical, they mean any art made by white people. It's kind of weird.
It is,
very weird. Those are the ones who post the pictures of that beautiful sculpture of the woman who is like wearing nothing but like this sheer thing or whatever.
Sculpture?
Yeah, the Chinese sculpture, and they're like, oh, you'll never see a woman put this level of dedication into sculpting the beautiful female form. Meanwhile, it was sculpted by a woman. It's those kind of people. Fimbolvinter 19 says Betty couldn't even define woke. Woke is whatever conservatives don't like. It's the same as Marxist and communist and socialist.
They don't like anything.
It's the woke Marxist communist socialist agenda.
Rhino, what's a Lenin?
Type of car?
Okay, cool. He's right wing, everybody.
I drive a Ford Lenin. That does sound like it could be a car, though, doesn't it?
It sounds like it could be a car. It could be. Jesus Christ. It's...
A Lenin is a guy who went to his death saying, don't let that Stalin guy take over when I'm done. But, when he was alive, he wasn't, like... He wasn't above using Stalin to accomplish his ends, but like on his deathbed, he's like, maybe don't let him take over. He's kind of corrupt.
He's kind of fooked. He's going to start a couple of genocides.
He's kind of power mad, and he likes killing people. Like he's the guy that said we should kill Anastasia.
Yeah.
Like literally, Stalin was the guy that said to kill the royal family and their kids.
Taproot in my chat says that Tuberville started doing this because the military is paying for transport.
Oh yes. Okay, yeah. No, I'm sorry. I don't know how I avoided mentioning this far into it, but yes, this whole thing started because the military pays for its service members that are pregnant to travel for abortions. Like they will go travel somewhere. So like when you join the military, you don't control where you're stationed.
Yep.
So if they send you to Texas, you're in Texas. If you get pregnant while in Texas, it's in the best interest of the military for you to not be pregnant. Like really, they don't want you to be pregnant because that's going to interfere with your duties. So like, military is perfectly fine
to have you get an abortion.
Yeah, military would prefer that you get an abortion, really, but like it's your choice. And so if you choose to get an abortion, the way it should be, and the way that it is, and that Tommy here is against, is that if you travel somewhere where abortion is legal, the military will cover your travel expenses. Now, easy solution to this, reinstate Roe versus Wade so that they can't just restrict abortion and they can get access to abortion without having to travel for it. Boom, yep. Problem solved.
But it's impossible as of right now to reinstate Roe v. Wade because that would require the Supreme Court to reevaluate their decision. And as they're currently set up, that's not going to fucking happen. Like,
there was a whole episode of MASH where Major Houlihan was worried that she was pregnant. And she was married at the time, and everybody was like, when she told Hawkeye, he was like, oh, congratulations, that's so great. And she's like, no, shut up, it's not great, that will ruin my career. And like, that was the whole premise of the episode.
Yep. And MASH was a very progressive show for its time.
Yeah, like it's some of its humor is like it's definitely like, did you have to? But it's from the 70s, so like you got to cut it some slack. And like there's a lot of sexual harassment of the nurses in that show. But yeah, again, it was from the 70s and it was depicting life in the 50s. So some of that is forgivable. But yeah, no, this whole thing is like him just throwing a snit about the military reimbursing people for traveling for healthcare.
Because he doesn't consider abortion healthcare.
No, but
either he doesn't consider it, or enough of his constituents don't consider it that he has to operate that way, which is arguably just as bad.
So he's literally compromising national security because he doesn't think women should get health care.
Yep.